Hello everybody. So this video is a little different. Last week when I moved into my dorm, I decided to draw my favorite characters from the first It remake, Reggie and Eddie, to have an It themed piece ready to post after I go watch It Chapter 2 because I'm chasing clout. And now my genius idea was to include another hobby that I have into the voiceover for this speed paint. A movie review. Bazinga. Now obviously this video contains a lot of really big spoilers. Duh. So come back and watch it after you decide to watch It Chapter 2. Now to make things short, because I actually wrote a script and there's a lot of reviewing to do, and the movie is 3 hours long. Let's just get this shit started, shall we? Yeah, I also won't be focusing on the speed paint part of this video a lot, because, like, script, yee. But, yeah, let's get started. Now, I decided to divide the movie into pros and cons that I have thought of during the movie while I was watching it. Now, I'm gonna first get to the pros and positives, and then I'm gonna get to the negatives. I hope that's okay with you, because, like, I don't even... Now, the first pro I have marked down is casting. And in the first film, already, the first It remake, the casting was great. Everyone did a wonderful job. Everyone clearly knows how to act, which is, a bonus if you're making a movie. Duh. It was legendary, kind of. I wouldn't say it was groundbreaking, but I mean, it was really, really good. And in It too, I loved how the younger actors were still included in new scenes rather than just including ones from the first film. That would be stupid. And during the scenes with the young actors in It too, mirroring It 1, everyone did a great job and I was absolutely blown away. I will also applaud the casting team for getting adult actors to portray their characters in the same tone as the kid actors do, as well as also looking like them at the same time, which kind of takes me away from movies sometimes, because it's dumb, but this movie didn't. This movie had a great acting and casting. Now the second pro is marked on my list as both a pro and con, but it's gay representation. Who would have known? Now, this movie handled Richie's quote-unquote coming out very likably. I liked it. At least the aspect of how there was no big coming out scene, emotional scene, because that just wouldn't fit the horror movie criteria that it had to have. But even though there was no coming out scene, I'm pretty sure everyone in the theater and their mom and their kid and their dog understood that Richie was in fact not straight, which is obviously something very refreshing, because not everyone needs a big, oh my god, I'm gay, oh, I'm so sorry, because that wouldn't fit this particular movie genre. If it was an indie flick, sure, but this one wasn't, so I like that. Now, the third pro was my personal favorite, the cinematography. My god, I absolutely applaud Andy Muschietti, or whatever his name is. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry, Andy, but I absolutely applaud him for his work on It too. I haven't really heard of him before the first It remake, during which I wasn't that amazed at the actual cinematography aspect of it. Because, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't mind-blowing. It was nothing compared to the second film. The second film, the cinematography and storytelling in this film were jaw-dropping. During some scenes, I even clutched at my friend that I went to see the movie with, and I couldn't help but be absolutely gobsmacked. Now, there's the thesaurus word for you. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on filmmaking and cinematography, because I'm obviously not. I'm a broadcast artist, yeet. But the first remake compared to the sequel, at least, at the very least, cinematography wise, can honestly just cower in fear. Like, the first remake has nothing on the second one. I'm still thinking about it. Some scenes were fucking amazing. I don't believe what I can't understand how they pulled that off. And some scenes just sucked me in just because of the cinematography. I could go on about this for days. Now the fourth, I think is the fourth note is jaw on the floor, which is the amount of scenes that were incredible. I'm not just talking about the cinematography, the CGI, the acting, everything compiled into one. There were so many scenes where my jaw dropped to the floor. And compared to the first film, there were so many scenes that in the first film, sure, there was like one scene, maybe two, I guess. And I'm not trying to make this video about, oh my god, it one was so fucking bad and terrible, and this one is superior. Because, like, no. But, the only films where I audibly went, oh my fucking god. Yes, that was my father walking into my room. I am sorry. But as I was talking about, the only films where that happened before were Hereditary and A Silent Place. And even in those films, my jaw to the floor scenes were limited to 3 maximum. But in this film, my jaw was just constantly on the floor. I'm sure everyone in the cinema got tired of me being so fucking loud about how great those scenes were, but yeah, yeet. No, the second point I would like to make is the CGI. Although some may argue there was too much of it or that it was unnecessary, you can't say that it was not absolutely stunning, at the very least, that as far as a fellow artist's quote-unquote professional opinion goes. It was realistic and unrealistic enough for it to be terrifying and convincing. I really liked it because of the fact that even though you knew it was CGI, like, you knew, it was still realistic and smooth enough for you to be like, oh shit, that's disgusting, or oh shit, that's super awesome, yada yada. The next point is Beverly and Ben. Now this opinion is pretty quote-unquote personal, since it's kind of shippy in a way, and I know the movie was anything but about shipping, but I've always preferred Beverly ending up with Ben, even in the first film, rather than Bill, just because a Beverly and Bill endgame would be way too cliche, predictable, and soulless, especially to Ben, who's been crushing on Beverly ever since they left Derry, it would be heartbreaking, and I'm just happy that happened. So is my friend. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that, because, like, what else can I say? I just like that. I like that little detail. Now, to the negatives. I don't know if there's more than the positives, but woo! The first negative is the bury your gaze cliche. This one's a real quick and important one, and even if I'm not claiming that the movie necessarily follows the trope to a T, it's still present when you're looking out for it. Now, let's just point out some gay and allegedly gay characters in It Chapter 2 and their life status for an experiment. Richie, the gay couple from the first scene, and hinted at plus allegedly gay Eddie. Now the life statuses. Alive, dead, dead, dead. Smells a bit funky to me. Now the next point is the tone issues. The tonally, some scenes in It Chapter 2 weren't needed in the film, particularly because of their tone or general mood didn't fit what the movie was advertised to be. Now what I'm talking about is if it was a sci-fi, a thriller sci-fi or fantasy or whatever, then sure, add a bunch of goofy scenes where the characters just kind of have fun, or like when it doesn't make quite enough sense. But in the middle of a supposed horror film, a scene where Bill goofs around and falls off a bike he bought from Stephen King, and a scene where fortune cookies just turn into little monster baby eggs. Those scenes just kind of take you out of the horror film mood, which it was kind of a weird feeling, I guess, but yeah. And sure, I love those scenes as a movie watcher who loves well-built characters and personalities, but tonally, it did not quite work out as well as the makers probably thought it would or hoped it would. Now, the next point is a very long one because it's pretty personal, but the movie played Richie like a fiddle. This is again a pretty personal opinion, but every potential love interest for Richie in particular just didn't happen. Keep in mind, he's the only gay character in the film. As well as the fact, now, every love interest for Richie didn't happen, as well as the fact that out of all of the surviving losers, he was the one with the saddest ending. I mean, after Bill somewhat got better mentally, he became a better writer and lived his merry life onward. Mike finally found peace in himself and got out of that godforsaken conspiracy theories bunker. Beverly got rid of her abusive husband and started a new life with Ben. And what, I'm supposed to be happy about Richie's ending? After spending his life in shame of his identity and being nearly outed by a weird fucking demon entity, missing the tragic death of his childhood and still present crush/love interest when he was almost ready to come out to him, and being forced to leave his love interest beneath a collapsing building, which ultimately caused him even more trauma and heartbreak, doing what after the death of Pennywise? He just drives back to Derry to fix some R+E carving that was supposed to foreshadow Richie's sexuality, but didn't foreshadow shit if you weren't specifically looking for it in the first film. To quote some wise words from St. John Mulaney, nah, sister. Nah. I didn't like that. That I hated in the movie. That, I just had to point that out. It's a long one, but I hated it. Now the last one is weird, unnecessary scenes, which I kind of talked about in the tonal issues, but it was one of the first scenes where all the losers are back together, where fortune cookies are just turned into like little monster eggs, and the weird fucking baby monster bug crawls out of it. It feels like a sci-fi flick. Some scenes like that don't even make sense. I guess they do because it's like a sequel and it's. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about those, but some scenes just didn't make sense to me. But the movie was entertaining. Now, since this rant was longer than the actual footage that I have, I'm just gonna conclude this. And in conclusion, was the movie good? Yes, it was good. Undoubtedly, it was good. The pros somewhat outweighed the cons, which is also as really good when you consider everything, and especially that this is a sequel. And would I recommend you watching it? Absolutely, go watch it. If you watch the first film, you will enjoy this one even more. I swear to you, it is better where it needs to be better, and it adds some stuff that we didn't have before. How would I rate it? I would give it a 7.5/8 out of 10, which is a very high rating, especially for me because I'm fucking judgy. But it also is kind of personal because I love the original It, the It remake, and now this It movie. I guess that concludes it. Go follow my links. Be a supportive sister, Schwester. And I will see you in the next video. Hopefully, if I don't get mauled by fucking hardcore It haters or It stans, both of which will probably hate this review. But again, I am not a professional artist. I don't review movies professionally. I don't have a degree in filmmaking. So this is just a nerd talking about what he likes. Bye, Lo.